right, Ingeborg from Norway, Trondheim. This is from suppression to expression. And I met Ingeborg just the other day, and she is super interesting. So I'm like, let's go. Let's have a
All right,
have a
let's
talk.
go.
Who are you, Ingeborg?
Well, I'm Norwegian, born in Trondheim, and today I'm a therapist, and I did many different things in my life actually. I've been anarchist since I was very young, and I was part of building up a huge community, and I traveled a lot around the world and had many different kind of projects actually, and yeah, that's yeah.
And the name of this project and where you grew up, what was the name of it?
Of my community.
Yeah.
And the community that I have been living in for my whole grown-up life is called Svartlamon.
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 We
yeah.
will put it in here so you can check it out as well. But that is super interesting because you mentioned this with Anarchy. You were a punk
Yes.
chick, and this Svartlamon. What did you guys do? Because you mentioned something very interesting with your son, for example.
Yeah. So Svartlamon is a project that came out of actually a group of teenagers who were really idealistic, and we decided to take over a part of the town in Trondheim where the houses were empty. And they were kind of shabby, very old houses. So we squatted them. We started as squatters. And the principle and the philosophy we had was to be free of things that could take our freedom away, and to not support things that is bad for the earth, and to do good things for humanity and for the earth, and to be free from the systems that make us tied down into belief systems that we didn't believe in. So it was a very idealistic thing, and then it slowly evolved through the years. So today it is a big community with about 450 people, with own kindergarten, a bar, restaurant, different shops, and we have restored and rebuilt all the houses. And these houses are also very special because it's the oldest wood house buildings in North Europe. So they are actually like Kmart, and they are like not allowed to tear down anymore, and they are protected by EU Commission.
And you, the guys who just stumbled upon and got these houses.
Yes, we spotted them, and the commune or the government of Norway have tried to kick us out several times, of course.
Yeah.
When we were younger, the police came and tried to kick us out with tear gas and full army, and we were barricading with grenades and metal into the earth. We chained ourselves to the houses. We did many things many barricades to kind of take over the place. And then in 1997, this is actually 26 years ago now.
26 years ago?
Yeah, this is 26 years ago. In 1997, I remember it because it's the year my son is born. So just this year, two of the most famous artists of Norway, O.A.K-Omega and O.A.K-Omega.Alfa.Knowledge, they decided to support the project, and they painted on all the houses. So there is paintings worth millions on the walls and on the houses, which makes it they can never be touched or rebuilt or torn down. We were supported by this, and then also in about year 2000, the eco-organ of EU Commission came in and supported us as a city organic project, and they have protected us against the Norwegian government, because the Norwegian government wanted to take us down, but then they started to make research on us. So now since 2000 it's about a bit more than 20 years. It's been done research on all the people who live in the community. Like we fill forms a couple
And
of times a year.
what type of research?
They research on all the inhabitants in the community. We fill out forms, for example, how are the health condition, how is our economy, how is our mental health, how are the kids doing in school, what kind of grades they get, all kind of like small details.
Yeah.
And through this research, they found out that when you live like we've been doing, when you don't have loans in the bank and you are having a freedom, and the freedom we find in the motto, this is important. We choose life quality in front of materialism and quantity. This is the principle.
And I just want to put a light on what you said. Debt free, no loans.
Yes.
That is and then you said the beautiful thing as well, but I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes.
Continue.
So when you don't have bank loans that you have to pay off, so you have to run after the bills and work a lot to this, and we have the freedom of create our own professions without this pressure, having a place to live quite cheaply because we created it cheaply. You can have better life quality. And what is life quality? Well, for us in the community, we saw life quality to have free time, to be together with our kids, to play music, have concerts, dance, work in the gardens, grow our own food, make art, and so on.
And not give the kids to the school 8 hours a day while you work, and then you meet the kids for very short amounts of time.
Yeah.
Instead, being with the kids.
Yes. So our kids also have been going to school, but I think that the main core value between all the grown-ups and the families in the community is that they spend a lot more time with their kids than other people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason is that the parents don't need to work as much. You know, because when you have bank loans and you are striving for capital and wanting to all the time put your energy into your career, you don't have time for your kids. So we've been prioritizing life quality in front of this quantity of owning a big house, a fancy car, expensive clothes, and all these kind of things. So through this research, it shows actually that the people of the community, averagely from the Trondheim town, which is the town the community is in.
And where is it in Norway? Where is it about? Is it very far north? Is it mid? Is it
it's
south?
mid-Norway.
Mid-Norway.
And Trondheim used to be the capital of Norway in the old times. So it's like the Viking capital. It's really in the middle of Norway on the coast. So it shows that through the research that the kids from the community and also the grown-ups are more healthy, make better money from what they like, they love their jobs, better mental health, many things. And the kids get better grades in school than the other kids, more concentrated, more happy, more playful. And also one big part of that, as I would say, for the kids who grew up, I have a son who is 26, he grew up there, at least most of his life, is that they play a lot, and we let our kids loose. It's like in the community, all the kids kind of like run around in clans, you know, like they play together outside, and the kids are welcome in all the homes. So it's like a kid can just go to the neighbor and ask for a sandwich, you know, if you're hungry. Or like me, I was a single mom a lot of the period. I was also married for a period, but when I was a single mom, I could have calibrations with the other parents so that we could party, you know.
Like a support system.
Yeah, we are there for each other. Like one mother takes 5 of the kids and the other mother is party.
Yeah,
or one is watching the kids, or 5 is watching all the kids, and the rest is working with something in the community. So it's kind of like, it makes everything much more easy.
And if you
to be
compare
together.
if you compare it to Sweden in many ways, where you isolate each and every one,
Yeah.
you don't have that support system.
Yeah.
So just that gives so much wealth, being able to live life, be with family, and help each other.
Exactly. For me, it's like since I lived in the community all my grown-up life, I really don't know how it is to be a common Swedish or Norwegian person with a kid, because I had my kid in the community, so I don't know how it is actually to be on the other side of the coin. But our kids are very happy, and they also have very good core values. It will say, for example, the kids from the community, they're usually very environmental friendly. They don't take the flight. They take the train. They don't wear fashion clothes. They use recycling. They are together. They are artists. My son, for example, he's been living nicely, being an artist from he was 16-year-old.
He's a tattoo artist, right?
He's a tattoo artist,
Yeah.
and a fisherman, and he provides himself since he was 18. He like sometimes he would ask me for money, but he's really living from his passion, and that's, I think, a part of what they learned. The kids who grew up like that is that they can do what they like to do. So in a community, which is kind of the was interesting part, is that if you take the society in general, you have many different roles. You have the teacher, you have the engineer, you have the farmer, you have the chauffeur, whatever, all kind of different professions. It's like in society, it's normal to take a job or a education because you feel you have to make those money to make that house and the car. While in the community, we've been choosing professions from what we like to do. It's like we do what we love to do. And the funny part is that it's the same. In the community, it's also like a variation of what people do. It's a teacher, engineer, what's to say, advocate, whatever, farmer. There is all the different roles is in the community as well. So you have the same roles as in the big society, but it's just people choose it from no pressure, from finding it from within themselves, which makes it different because you don't have this economical pressure of having to own everything.
And then everyone lands at the spot they are meant to be at, instead of the suppression which puts you in a position you don't want to, and then you start feeling like shit. With the expression, you end up where you're supposed to end up. It's beautiful.
And I realize also, as coming with age, I'm 47, it's that like, for example, I lived in the community all my grown-up life. I was traveling a lot and working in India, also parts of it, but have my home base there. And then I met a Swedish man. That's why I've moved to Sweden. Quite a
Where
ride
did you
ago.
move?
I moved first to Stockholm, which I didn't like at all. So
That's
after,
the biggest.
it's a
like,
very
as
big
far away
contrast.
from living like as you possibly can.
It's a
pretty much.
very big contrast, and it made me actually sick. I was
Sick in what way?
living in Stockholm made me depressed and burnt out. It took about 6 months living in Stockholm, and I felt really ill. I had to lay in the bed. So I moved from Stockholm to the farm in Östergötland, where I live in the forest, and I again got good. But Stockholm made me really feeling not so good. The funny part is that coming from, now I see more also having moved out of the community, that I had no idea what I moved to, because I was used to the community, so for me that was normal. And then I moved together with this man, which was quite radical. But then for him it was like he couldn't live at the farm without owning it. For him it was like he's an investor. So it's like really thinking every step he takes in his life needs to give an outcome. Like every hour of his time or every dime he put into something is an investment that is supposed to produce something for later. And this is like not in my nature at all from living in the community, because what I learned in the community, which we don't own anything, we don't own the house, but I've been building a house. I don't own it, but I've been living in it, and it's not for later. It's because I want to live good now. You know, and it's like so it's like all this so for me and him, we couldn't work together because of that, because for me, I don't need to own. For me, it's almost like more easy to not own. Having to own something just gives a lot of responsibility, gives a lot of stress, a lot of you have to take care. You can lose something if you own something. You can lose something. While if you take that all away, you actually take away a lot of mind fucks. You know, so
a lot of mind fucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this stress, you know, like like it's like what I could see was like what I could see in the people in Stockholm was like a vortex of stress.
Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suppression, stress.
Yeah.
Running faster and faster and faster and faster until you hit the wall. And it happened to you within 6 months.
Yeah.
Because what happened to a lot of Swedish people is that when that happens, instead of taking 2 steps back, observing, you take pills.
Yeah.
Suppressing even more.
Even more.
Yeah.
So this is really like when you observe it like that, it's really interesting. So now actually at the age of 47, I'm packing down at my farm in Sweden, and I'm actually applied for a new, because I gave away my home in the community to my son, which is now grown up. He's 26, and I don't think he wants his mom to move in again. So I applied for my own home in the community.
Yeah.
So I'm now on the list of like getting my own place again in the community and having my base home there again, because I realized I don't want to be old alone. You know, like especially in the like now I'm not old, I'm still young, but I mean the years go by very quickly.
Yeah.
And there is nowhere else I would like to be when I'm starting to get older than in a community. Like
exactly. Instead of just ending up by yourself at this old people's house where you be treated like an old sick individual, instead of being within the community where you help each other and you also
have fun together, laugh together, dance together,
and the
drink
youngsters and the old, everyone learn from each other.
And a lot of cool things come out of this community. It's like actually it's called like the cradle of rock and roll of Norway. So the most famous rock bands and artists and stuff come from the community. It's actually a lot of the people in the community made great success from their art, from their design, from their music, from their productions, from photo, like
because they are not heavily indoctrinated by the school system, for example, and the psychosocial engineering of what you, for example, live through in Stockholm. And that is just such a clear view of it. And this is like the suppression to the expression why you fit so perfectly to this, is that you are it, pretty much, and you lived through it, and you did all the challenges when you guys were young, and you had this barricades, like, fuck you guys, this is what we believe in, and it ended up that you're now protected and actually showing a way. And that people are interested in, like science, checking you guys out, so you play a vital role in this paradigm shift that is happening all over the world.
We do actually. In that way, I think it's really good to give an interview like I give to you. I've given a couple of others too, because actually we are a dying race. Because we were punks. I'm probably the youngest of the punks, you know, like, because I was in the end of
punk
the punk
rockers.
They're like true punks. And that means that we were standing up for our political meanings. We were actually having like we've been standing up for our political meanings, in the sense that we were standing with posters outside of the government house saying what we mean, and we didn't give after when we really standing up for our opinion.
yes,
you know.
fuck yeah,
Yeah.
and we need this
Yeah.
so much more.
And the thing we
Yeah.
see that with the young people, like it's a term we use in the community between the people who's a bit older, is that the new generation is like Hennes and Maurice punks. I'm sorry guys, but you know, like it's not about your political opinions. It's about how you dress, how your hair is. You know, it's not really the deal.
Yeah, and it's not so much action.
Yeah.
It is just, as you say, it's like you're a yogi having the yogi kit, but you don't do yoga.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and actually because in Trondheim in the community, there is actually young people who've been coming to ask to be taught. Like they're coming to the elders and saying, "Can you please teach us?" You know. So there is some delivering of the knowledge, but I think also like since we all are, like we talked about before, we all get influenced by everything. So in a society, everyone will feel like society, even you are in opposition.
Mm.
And now today it's like so numb is what I could say as a word describing society when it comes to this inner fire of having own opinions, political meanings, standing up for yourself. People have become more numb.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is also for the young people in the community. Like because we were really radical. We threw grenades at the police. We were having fire barricades. We chained ourselves to trees and houses, and we were really like standing with posters outside of the government house. And this is not really in the same sense happening as much as it did when I was young. But still there is like movements between young people who are different. It's now in a different way. It's in a cyber way. It's in in other ways, of course. So the opposition is there, but
and it is happening a lot now in the grassroots movement. It's coming more and more, even in Sweden. People that have been doing this for so long, keeping the fire. And now this is why I want to do this, for example, the leading word of suppression to expression.
Yes.
Because in your community, a lot of that has to do with expression. And as you said, you dare to express, you dare to take that stand. And it is so important because I see it everywhere that you are afraid to even speak.
Yeah.
Because of conflict and all of that.
And we are very controlled.
Yeah.
Like they listen our phones. They everywhere is now looked at with cameras and with from space. You know, like you are actually watched over in another way. So we get more conscious of what we're saying.
Yeah.
And I also want to put a point out of the community of the idealism, because idealism in the origin is also a lot about consumption. Okay, it's about human rights, civil rights, and consumption. So number one, human rights. You know, to stand up for the human rights. What is our rights? It's right to be free. We have the right to be private. We have the right to be who we are. We have the right to be who we mean we are. We have the right to have our opinions. We can mean what we want. You're allowed to have the freedom of speech. Yeah? And this is something that really, like, I almost have to cry now when I'm saying it, but it's like humanity is giving it away, you know? Freedom of speech, which was fought for hundreds of years through revolutions in humanity. And it's like given away in a blink of an eye, and not understand the meaning of true freedom of speech. And yeah, that's one really like ground principle of the punk, you know?
Yeah, they give me chills.
Yeah, and then you have the human rights, which is like children have a right to love, all the school, you have the right to food, you have the right to houses. And there it comes why we were squatting. It's like houses need people and people need houses. These were empty houses. We were teenagers without homes. So we took the houses, you know? So it was like everyone have a right to a place to live. Yeah, to food, to love, to learn, to mean, all these things. And then there is the consumption, because also it's about the survival of Mother Earth, the survival of humanity. What we are doing now that is kind of breaking the whole deal. That is fucking up the earth, that's fucking up our culture, that's fucking up our people. It's the consumption. It's the products we use. We are buying products that are breaking everything. And it's just going on through commercializing, through influencing us through all our devices, that we need to buy things that we don't need. And then to buy these things, we need to work a lot. And then we need to have a bank loan. So you're working double to pay your bank loan to have the consumptions of products that you don't need. And it's just like, what? And this is a big, big thorn in humanity at the moment. And you know, people are talking about that, yeah, it's a change coming, and people are so radical and blah, 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 blah. But the consumption is like going like this. It's like more and more by the day. And you should think that through all the things that's in media, through all the things we are informed that we are consuming too much. It's too much plastic, too much gasoline, too much clothes. The clothes production of colors of clothing is ruining our drinking water, which is like kind of like our survival. What we do with no clean drinking water? We will die, you know. So then, no, but I still go on to support the shops which makes the clothes, which ruin my drinking water. And people know this, but they don't put 1 + 1 together.
And
you
the
know?
consequences, when the
Yeah.
consequences haven't met you in the
Yeah.
real eye,
Yeah.
a lot of people just do like this
Yes.
until you will face the consequences of it.
Yeah.
And you say something about the depth, for example. That's the root cause of that we can see now, that almost everybody, or the majority,
Yeah.
is in debt.
Yeah.
And people are working harder and harder with the paying interest and taxes on taxes on taxes, while the private banks have never ever in history earned so much money.
Yeah.
So we have to start talk about this,
Yes.
express, super important.
It's super, super important. I myself personally have 0 debt. All my money is always in my account or in my pocket. Is plus. That's why I'm like fucking rich, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Fuck yeah. Because all, like, from the 70s,
Yeah.
like, all the money is
Yeah.
debt.
Yeah.
Everything is debt. And now with the BRICS and the petrodollars, it is a big shift we are in. So it's important to understand this mechanics of, and the importance of what does that living like this, being in debt, having to work a lot of stress,
Yeah.
and what consequences does that lead to. We call it diagnosis. We have 40,000 names of different diagnoses, but the root is always like stress and the nervous system, and you
Yeah.
put drugs and pills and
Yeah, and I must say also, like, one thing I want to also take into there, that what made my mind to open for this freedom when I was at young age and started to be a punk, it was psychedelics. And psychedelics made me free, and I believe that for humans it's natural to take psychedelics. And that's why we're not allowed to take it, because it makes us free, it makes us think ourselves, it makes us have a moral, it makes us feel good about the earth, it makes us don't want to consume the things, it makes us want to love each other, it wants us to stand up to bad governments. So it's like, so I really like, I really believe that psychedelics should be a part of humanity again. I would say that that would be a big solution. But also back to this, the question of the consumption, because, you know, through all the consumption and pollution, like if you take tests of our body, our cells in our body, we have plastic in them. So
yeah.
there is plastic in our drinking water, guys, and our cells are full of plastic, and it's because it's plastic in the soil, in the vegetables that's grown, even they are organic, in the water, in the air. And it's actually changing us, it's giving us sickness, it's giving us, we are getting cancers, we're getting different kind of sicknesses, so it's actually killing us, guys. So to stop to consume the products that are breaking our earth, it's also like a big part of surviving as humans.
Yeah, it's the PFOS.
Yeah.
They went out now, even in Sweden, showing that the levels of PFOS in our drinking water have been way above what it is even good, but they have just not talked about it. So
Yeah.
it's coming up now, and
Yeah.
people, like some people put it on trial, and they actually won because the government have just poured shit into the water, saying that it's clean,
Yeah.
but it's absolutely not.
Yeah, and also it's been put fluor in the drinking water, and
Yeah.
fluor is actually breaking our pineal gland, which is our third eye, which is the part of the brain that makes us think and makes us connected to truth. So fluor is breaking that pineal gland, and they put it in the drinking water in most countries.
Toothpaste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can choose to use a toothpaste without, but if it's in the drinking water, it's not so good, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then it will get in everything. It gets in when you farm, you water your plants, you know, it gets in everything.
And they have made a very interesting when you look at psychosocial engineering and the power of words and storytelling. Because people that often have this understanding, they have put it under a name and put it as hippie.
Yeah.
And then to lose like ethos, to lose authority of your speech, and people are like, oh, you fucking hippie. But and it is the same with the conspiracy theorists, for example.
Yeah.
So a lot of people fall on that, not even listening because it's hippie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it's because now when you speak and you listen without judgment, it is so logical.
Yeah.
It is pure logics.
Yeah.
If you just take away that form of story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all this. We are programmed to believe that we need all these things especially through our devices, which I think is the devices that the kind of like, because I work with the brain. I'm a therapist in the brain and the nervous system today, and what actually happens when you repeat something after so and so many times, you believe it's true.
Yeah.
That's how we work. That's how the brain of a human works. So when we are when we get information over and over and over again, we subconsciously take it in as our truth. So we start to believe it, and that's when we see all these ads, commercials of all the things we need, how we're supposed to look, what we're supposed to mean, we actually buy it. And even if you're an idealist, even if you have your own moral. So, yeah. So, and now every human has a device. So, this is in my eyes a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is quite easy to direct and control in given directions. Where do you want this group of people? So have to be conscious. But this is super interesting with therapy and the neuroscience.
Yes.
That from, let's say, this like hippie, but then you like fall into neuroscience and all of that therapy. Talk more about like what are you doing within that, in like how do you view it, because nervous system.
Yeah. Well, I work with the brain and the nervous system. They are connected.
No.
So through the vagus nerve that comes from the head, actually the whole nervous system are influenced by that nerve that comes down from the head. And also all the inner organs and how our body is functioning. And it's now today incredible things invented to heal us. They are here. They are already existing. There is machines, therapies that you can use to actually heal the brain and the nervous system through a very short time. That eliminates medications, that eliminates depressions, anxiety, nervous problems. All these things can be gone from society if they start to use the science that's used in neuroscience. So what I do with my clients, I work with clients in depth. So I use interdisciplinary methods. And I work with doctors, so I don't do everything myself. But I work with neuroscientists. I work with chiropractors, doctors in chiropractic, that correct the spine and the body, the nervous system in the body, and work with the fascia. And then we have naturopaths who work with inner organs. So it's kind of like my company today is called Explore Minds, and it uses all these methods. So through correcting the brain and the nervous system, you can actually heal quite fast. Like, for example, the sickness like take HDAD, which is very normal today. Like everyone has it actually, you know. And if you take that through on a child, 10 treatments with neuroscience can heal it. On an adult, maybe 20. And you're talking like very low costs. If you think about what people cost when they are not working, when they are not functioning, and they go on medications and the health system, they cost the society a lot. So I wonder why they are not buying the packets of healing us.
Who earns on it?
Yes. Yeah.
And I love this.
Yeah.
Talk more about, because ADHD, for example, I know myself, a lot of the guys I grew up with, you get the diagnosis, you get the amphetamines, but you then are not supposed to heal.
Yeah.
You are supposed to be fucked, because then you need the continuation of the product instead of getting right treatment.
Yeah. So this is a big issue, and that's when the big pharma comes in and all this. So, and we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is methods, people, you know, that you can use, and it's actually spread around the world. Like neuroscience, you can get a neurofeedback therapist now in nearly every city, I would say. Some cities have less, so they have long queue, but some cities have many. And in Thailand, it's really, in Asia, it's really spread already. In some countries, more or less. But with a neurofeedback therapist, you can actually heal these causes, like anxiety, depression, HDAD.
Neurofeedback.
Neurofeedback. So neurofeedback is a machine that's invented. Is many different kind of neurofeedback machines. So the one that we use in my company is from O.A.K method. It was invented like 26 years ago. So it's been around for quite a bit, but it's first now that it's starting to get known, and that it's spreading as a therapy form. So what you actually do is that you sit in a chair, and the doctor is behind you, or the therapist is behind you, and there's a computer, and then there is a machine with some cords that you put on your brain, and then according to what you're going to heal, because you have different centers in the brain from different things. It was actually made for sport, which is kind of funny, because it was made to make Olympic athletes and so on, to make a better presentation. So it can heal nerves that are broken, it can heal injuries in the body. So it's also a very physical, good tool to help after operations, to get nerves to function again. And then also for all the other things that came on the top, the psychological aspect of it.
Yeah, because everything is one.
Yeah. So you put these electrodes on the brain, and it actually scans your brain. So on the computer screen, you can see the brain and the brain activity, and you can see the neuron patterns of how the neuron patterns work, the waves of the neuron patterns. And then you actually use different protocols of frequency through these cords to work on the center in your brain that is disturbed. And you can see that because when a brain, what is disturbed? Well, it comes from certain situations in life, traumas they're called, post-traumatic stress. It comes from when you are in a fear and flight mode. So your brain starts a very high activity, and then if you have repeatedly this trauma, or it's a big trauma, it sometimes doesn't end. You know, it just continues to be in this unhealthy pattern. So it can actually change that. And then I would say, like, okay, it's not a quick fix. If you think about that in this way, that your brain is like a muscle. So it's flexible. Your brain is changeable through many methods. It's also changeable through hypnosis, through different kind of therapies. It's proven that hypnosis can change the brain in the same way as neuroscience. So you don't need the machines, but the machines are very accessible for you, you know. So what you can do is train the brain. It's actually training your brain to get new patterns. So if you think you go to the gym to get a good abdomen, you need to go more than one time to the gym, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough with 20 minutes and it's done. You need to maybe do it repeatedly, like every second day for a month before you start to get results. And it's the same with the brain. Like you need to repeat it sometimes. But the machines are constant, so it's not an expense. It's not like a medication, or it's like you go to the doctor, it takes 45 minutes, you come out, and it's very subtle. Kids can have it, grown-ups, people in wheelchairs, everyone in all kind of conditions can use this method, neurofeedback. So so it's a very good method to help people.
And I can just tell, just to put ethos into what you're saying, is that I got help with EMDR, which is hypnosis. It is this, you work with the patterns, and I had massive PTSD problems. I had this, like, I almost passed out, and after 3 months of heavy EMDR, or if I would have used your function, then now I don't have it. So train the brain.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. And we need to get that out even more, instead of like, I'm fucked for life and I need these pills, these chemicals. So this is also so important.
Yes.
Wow, I did not even know you were doing about pills. Yeah.
So it's totally possible to change the brain and change the perception, because okay, the words, many things are cliches, but you can think we become what we are thinking. And this is actually true, we become what we think. So it's really important how our brain is. Our brain is our captain. It's really like, it's what steers our ship, our destiny, our life. So changing the brain, training your brain, which you can do through many different methods, hypnosis, neuroscience, there's many ways to train the brain. So and this can be done. It can be done in the kids in school, breath work also is a really good thing, how you're breathing, because when you breathe, we breathe in oxygen and then we breathe out carbon dioxide, and the natural balance for human is to breathe out a little bit more carbon dioxide than you breathe in oxygen. And now we're not talking about Wim Hof, pranayama, kundalini breathing here. Now I'm talking about just normal breathing every day. So when you have the right balance of in-breath and out-breath, you are alkaline, you don't get autoimmune sicknesses, your brain has the right acidity, you don't get anxiety, your depressions goes away. That's how fucking easy it is. I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot. I cannot.
This is from suppression to expression, so you can say whatever the fuck you want.
But it's so easy. So when I have my clients, I teach them to breathe.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, because actually you can rescue yourself or change your brain, change your mood, even like take away, like for example, hormonal imbalances with women. This is, in my age, is a topic. And I had no symptoms of the menopause. They say that they blame everything on the menopause for women. Oh, it's the menopause. She's like that and like that. But you know what? You don't need to have a menopause. There is a menopause, but it doesn't need to be any symptoms of uncomforts. All that's happening, your menstruation stops. It's the hormonal imbalances comes from breathing in too much oxygen and out too less carbon dioxide.
Because you
you
up here.
When you
Stress.
And when you breathe properly, you don't have hormonal imbalances. Good.
We could talk for a long time. There's so many topics, and you have so much knowledge and wisdom, and you have lived from so much, and I want to do more. But for now, this is like a beautiful startup cake. This is Ingeborg from Trondheim, Norway. Svartlamon, fucking legend right here. We need more of these, and we also, with this content, we also create the bridges showing that these individuals exist for real. So it's important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Boom.
Boom, boom.
Suppression to expression.
Yes.
Pwah!
Aha!